American boomers are broke, apparently. So, now, Finney, no sirree, Bob. So we've heard boomers are wealthy beyond anyone could possibly imagine because they've basically stolen the wealth from everybody else. That's what I've heard on one hand. On the other hand, we've heard that boomers apparently are broke now too. So we have it both ways. Boomers are so wealthy that they're broke apparently. You can't hate boomers for stealing all the money and then turn around and say, boomers, how could you be broke when you've had everything handed to you? It's just idiotic. So I was watching this, came across this video on YouTube that just put in my feed for some ungodly reason. And I don't watch a lot of financial YouTubes because I'm not trying to bash people. It's embarrassing to bash people. And but this is idiotic. So this guy shows this chart from 1985 till today. Let's see. People over 65, there's 10% of the population over 65 who is working in 1985. It's 20% today. And I don't have any qualm with that. I don't have any qualm with that number at all. I'm not validating that, but that seems probably reasonable to me. So his idea is that means the number of people over 65 has doubled, and the labor force has doubled since 1985, which, again, I'd probably say is probably true. The point, though, his own chart showed you that just 10, 20, 30 years before that, it was going way down. So it bottomed out in 1985. He's using that as his baseline to say the number of people over 65 has doubled since 1985. I'm like, but what was it in 1975? What was it in 1965 and 1955? I mean, it's idiotic, dude. It just, Then he says, I can't remember exactly. The median retirement balance for people over 65 is $200,000. Well, that's just retirement accounts first and foremost. But even 200, I can't remember exactly what the numbers he was using. I'd say that's a median. All right, so that means half have more, half has less. No, Finn again. But I know Finney's back because he's like back to digging. That's good. But just because you have a median or even an only, we'll use that term. Is it an adjective only? Or I don't know what it is. Preposition, whatever it is. You only have $200,000 doesn't make you broke. It just does not. It doesn't. And the average Social Security benefit is what? $1,900. It doesn't make you broke. You know what makes you broke? That you have more expenses than income. That's what makes you broke. If you have less expenses than income, regardless of what your median retirement account balance is, regardless of what your Social Security is, you're not broke. If you have more money coming in than going out the door, even if that more money coming in is only $40,000 a year, you inherently are not broke. This is why I don't understand these people. They all say you're broke, and I'm like, based on what? Well, they only have a median retirement balance of $200,000. I'm like, okay, what does that have to do with being broke? Well, it only gives them a 4% rule. I think he said like $700 a month. Plus a Social Security at $2,000 a month, that's only $2,700 a month. I said, okay, what does that have to do with being broke? Well, you can't live off $2,000 or $2,700 a month. I said, says who? Well, you can't because I'm a millennial, and I know millennials. We need lots of money in order to buy our Starbucks, to get our sleeve tattoos, to get a new phone every 10 years or every 10 years, every 10 days. We need that, man. We need that. Okay, well, that's you. That doesn't mean the boomers do. Doesn't mean I do. You just simply can't say you're broke because, dude, Pablo, why you got poop everywhere on my pool deck? Of all the places to poop in my yard that we spend oodles and oodles of money on, Pablo seems to find a need to poop right on this deck. And I think I almost stepped in it. I didn't. I almost did. Ever tell you the story? I'm going to tell you a story here. I know I can hear Penelope and Marie out there right now. I wish Josh would just stop his wandering. See, he could poop in here. I do poop patrol every other day. Go in here and pick up poop. But no, Paolo's got to poop down here. So one time when I was living on Peaks Island, my dad had taken the back steps off our back porch like this, all right? And I had forgot he had done that. And I was really had the hots for the girl who lived across behind us, right? So, we had this Peaks Island, Maine, and the girl who lived behind us was yellow hair, good looking, you know what I'm saying? And if memory serves, she had a little bit of money relative. Like we went to the Harlem Globetrotters game because they had a car. So for me, having money meant you had a color TV and a car, you know what I'm saying? And wall-to-wall carpeting, and she did. But she was pretty hot. Anyway, long story short, so I must have been 10 years old, 11 years old, something like that. Anyway, so I went over to her house one night. I said, hey, I called her up. Hey, because she lived right behind me. Can I come to your house? She was like, I can't remember. She said, come over to my house and watch a movie. Maybe I was 12 years old, something like that. I said, okay, cool. And so I said, oh man, I got a date with this chick. Well, not a date, but you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go hang out with this girl because she was babysitting for her little sister. And I was like, man, this is great. So I come outside the house, the back door. It's at night, and I had forgotten that my dad took the steps off. So I came outside the back door. I was just like, yeah, and then I fell. Probably, I don't know, 10 feet or something like that, 6 feet, whatever. Yeah, probably 6 feet. And it hurt like hell. I was like, oh. Anyway, so I go to her house. And we're sitting there. I'm just like, dude, this is great. You know what I'm saying? I never had a girlfriend before this. I didn't know what I was doing. But we're watching this show, and all of a sudden it starts stinking. It's like, man, what's that smell? She goes, what's that smell? Dude, when I fell off the freaking porch, I fell into some of my dog's poop. Doggy, I was our first dog named Doggy, and he pooped outside. I fell into it, and I dragged it into her house. Oh, oh. Can't live that one down, man. Can't live that one down. One of the most embarrassing moments of my life. And I was like, oh. So I cleaned it up, and I said, I'm gonna go home. And that was the end of that relationship. Funny, on a Peaks Island chat thing or whatever's on Facebook thing, you know what I'm saying? Friends of Peaks Island, whatever it's called. She posted something on there a while back. I said, hey, you remember me? She goes, oh, yeah, Josh, blah, blah, blah. And I said, all right, you remember when I stepped in your house with poop? Good times. That's fun. That's good times, man. That's your old buddy Josh, bringing the stories on that make you say, hey, as long as I'm better than Josh, I'm doing okay. And it's easy to be better than me because you did not step in poop in what you hope was going to be your girlfriend's house and embarrass yourself where you could never live it down. But I said to her, I said, you remember this? She goes, I don't remember it. I said, well, thank God, but I do. Anyway, going back to this boomer stuff. Where's the evidence that boomers are broke? Where? And if your evidence is that they only have $200,000 median retirement account, or if your evidence is that 20% of the boomer population is working past 65, or if your evidence is that the average Social Security benefit is $1,900, that's not evidence that they're broke. That's evidence that you don't think they have enough accumulation or income. That's your own. But that's not evidence that they're broke. That's evidence that's saying almost like a straw man. I'm going to show you they're broke by setting up a straw man. The straw man is a way I can tear it down to prove I'm right. You are broke. Why? Because I think you need this amount of money. Why do you think that? Well, because I do. Why? Well, because I do. Okay, see, we're at a hard pass at that stage. You're like, well, that doesn't make sense. I don't need that much money. In fact, when we look at survey after survey after survey, not only are boomers not going bankrupt, they're increasing their net worth. Why? Because they're not spending as much as they got coming in. You can't go bankrupt if you have no debt. You're not broke if you have more money coming in than going out the door, regardless of what some millennial guy says you need. Anyway, all right, God bless. Love your thoughts. Smash that like button. And, don't be too ashamed of your stories. You got to laugh at it. But back then I was mortified. I said, oh, I finally got a girlfriend. Well, that's what it was. Yeah, because I actually asked her to be my girlfriend the night before. That's what it was, on my front porch. That's what it was. Now I remember. And things have never looked up for me since. God bless. We'll see you.